I'm not here to tell you to buy American Eagle jeans. And I definitely won't say that they're the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn.
Did you
Or
hear?
that they make...
Lately, American actress Sydney Sweeney has been absolutely slammed just because she's too attractive. American Eagle invited her to do a campaign with the tagline, Sydney Sweeney has great jeans, a pun that refers to both her denim and her jeans. The backlash? Some said it promoted Nazi aesthetics. Some said it was pushing white supremacy. Others called it objectifying women, misogynistic, or a conservative fantasy in human form. But from an economic perspective, we have to ask, why do seemingly harmless, sexy marketing campaigns trigger such intense emotional backlash? Why are some people especially outraged so much so they're demanding the ad be canceled? Who's mad and why? Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Yuanyu Perspectives, where we explain the real world through the lens of economics, even the stuff that's uncomfortable or, frankly, a little spicy. Today, we'll go from Sydney's jeans to bikini nights to workplace sexual harassment and power structures. I'll walk you through two core ideas that will help you see all of this clearly through the lens of competition and incentives. Point one. Every market has competition, and every competition has rules. A core concept in economics is that every market involves competition, and that competition always comes with rules. Sometimes those rules are explicit. Sometimes they're implicit. In school, the rules are grades. In business, it's about delivering better service at a lower cost. But in the marriage market or attractiveness market, the rules are simple: youth, appearance, and physical traits. These aren't social constructs. They're driven by biological instinct. Our genes naturally guide us to seek out mates with better odds of survival and reproduction. For men, younger women with attractive features often signal better genes, better health, and greater reproductive potential. For women, taller, stronger, smarter, or higher-earning men signal better resources for raising the next generation. So if you meet those standards, you're a winner in this market, and you're likely to support the rules. But if you don't, you're more likely to want to overturn them. That also explains why people who aren't especially attractive, especially women, are more likely to emphasize feminism. Similarly, men who are more inclined toward casual sex tend to support feminism too, because they realize it makes it easier to score, and the sense of responsibility is often lighter. This isn't something I'm making up. I came across this exact observation in a Shanghai women's magazine from the 1930s. A male writer back then noticed that women who loudly promoted bodily autonomy were often less attracted by traditional standards, yet more willing to have sex and less likely to demand accountability afterward. Of course, theory and reality don't always match. Many women who shout bodily autonomy loudly suddenly become extremely traditional and conservative once they're actually pregnant, insisting that the man take full responsibility. These kinds of disputes were already common in Republican-era newspapers over 100 years ago, folks, and history is full of similar cases. In 1792, Mary Wollstonecraft published A Vindication of the Rights of Woman, one of the earliest feminist works in the West. Soon after, she was revealed to have had a child out of wedlock and was mercilessly attacked for her immoral lifestyle. In 1872, the American magazine Wild Oats published a satirical cartoon portraying feminist activists as seductive fisherwomen using sex to bait men. And in the 1860s, British writer Eliza Lynn Linton published a string of essays claiming that new women would inevitably be abandoned by men or end up in miserable marriages because their so-called liberation only made it easier for men to use them. We're not here to morally judge anyone. Personally, I believe women should have autonomy over their own bodies. How often you have sex or your preferences shouldn't be grounds for moral condemnation. But we also can't deny that many men genuinely believe that women who loudly preach feminist ideals are easier to sleep with and that they're less likely to demand commitment afterward. And yes, some men do exploit this. That's exactly why the Sydney Sweeney ad sparked such a storm. She's a beautiful, young, blonde white woman with a healthy, wholesome image. And yet, just for appearing in a mildly suggestive jeans ad, she was attacked by progressives for promoting white supremacy, reviving Nazi aesthetics, and objectifying women. Some even straight up called her a Nazi. Meanwhile, conservatives like Trump, J.D. Vance, and Megyn Kelly came to her defense, saying the left had completely overreacted and that this was just another case of cancel culture run amok. But from an economic perspective, the issue isn't how revealing the ad was. It's about who benefits in the market and who doesn't. People who don't do well in a beauty-based market naturally have a stronger incentive to attack ads like this in an attempt to change the rules of the game. And certain men will happily chime in because they know that under the banner of feminism, they stand to gain more. For brands like American Eagle, the controversy itself becomes free advertising. The bigger the stir, the better, far better than running an ad nobody notices. Point 2. The prevalence of sexual harassment is tied to how easily job performance can be measured. Now let's talk about sexual harassment in the workplace. Why does it occur more frequently in certain industries? The economic answer is this. When individual contributions are hard to measure, harassment is more likely to occur. Take the entertainment industry, modeling, or even high-paying sectors like investment banking. These jobs rely heavily on teamwork, and it's often difficult to determine exactly how much each person contributed. As a result, power imbalances in the workplace are amplified, and some people will exploit that gray area for bad behavior. It's important to note, this doesn't just happen to women. In female-dominated industries like fashion or design, young, attractive men can also become victims of sexual harassment. And of course, this also includes hierarchical exploitation within the gay community. This isn't a gender issue. It's the result of a combination of power and ambiguous performance metrics. Key takeaway, whether it's feminism, sexual harassment, or moral outrage, there's often an economic motive lurking beneath the surface. Existing market rules reward some and exclude others. The ones who lose under those rules have the strongest incentive to demand change. And when job performance is hard to measure, power imbalances are more likely to lead to harassment or abuse. So, what you think is a battle over morality is really a battle over resources and rule setting. Winners defend the rules. Losers want to flip the table. That's human nature. To see what's really going on, don't stop at the surface. Ask who benefits. That's it for today's Yuanyu Perspectives. If this episode gave you a new way to look at things, share it with a friend. Remember, understanding incentives and competition mechanisms is more important than moral grandstanding. See you next time.